There comes a moment, not once, but many times, when your soul whispers, "This is not all there is." It's that pull inside your chest, like something ancient trying to surface, trying to remind you that you were never meant to merely survive, pay bills, and die. You were meant to rise, to craft, to build, to feel life in high definition. You were meant to become something far more than the version of you that's just getting by. That whisper, it's not noise, it's a signal. And here's the truth. The world does not give you the life you want. It gives you the life you demand with your habits, with your decisions, with your unrelenting standards. You don't stumble into a life you love. You build it. You carve it. You earn it in the silence when no one is watching and everyone else is asleep. The life you love does not wait for permission. It waits for your command. Let's begin with this. 1. Take full ownership, no more excuses. There is a moment in every life when the mirror stops lying. A moment when your reflection speaks back not with words, but with truth. A truth so raw, so unfiltered, that you either shatter it or you surrender to it. And that truth is this: the life you're living is the one you've allowed, not the one you deserved, not the one you dreamed of as a child, but the one that reflects every choice, every compromise, every excuse you've rehearsed into reality. Let that sink in. No one is coming to rescue you. There is no cavalry, no lucky break, no handout disguised as destiny. And yet, this is not a tragedy. It is liberation. Because if no one else is responsible, then you are free. Free to change, free to rise, free to become the weight you carry. It's not punishment. It's power, waiting to be claimed. Ownership is not blame, it is freedom. The moment you take full responsibility is the moment you take full control. No more deflecting. No more waiting. No more someday. There is no someday. There is only now, and what you choose to do with it. This is the harsh, holy truth. Your life is your fault. But fault isn't the same as failure. Fault is the starting line of every transformation. It's the refusal to hand your pen to the world and let them write your story. It's the unflinching courage to say, this chapter is mine. You can't rewrite your past, but you can reassign its meaning. The pain, now it's a lesson. The failure, now it's a forge. The regret, now it's fuel. But only if you stop using it as a crutch and start wielding it as a weapon. You see, the enemy isn't your circumstances, it's your story about your circumstances. The lie that says I'm stuck because of them. I can't because of that. It's just who I am. No, it's who you were. You are not your environment. You are not your upbringing. You are not your history. You are your decisions. And every decision is a vote for the kind of life you want to live. You've got two choices: continuation or creation. You can continue the story you've been handed, repeat it, recycle it, relive it, or you can create a new one that begins not with comfort, but with courage. And that courage starts with radical honesty. Ask yourself, am I playing at my true potential? Am I showing up as the person I respect? Am I doing what I know I'm capable of? Or just what's convenient? Because let's get one thing clear. You cannot negotiate with greatness. It has terms, and those terms are non-negotiable. It demands you show up when it's inconvenient. It demands you do the work when you feel like hiding. It demands you stop lying to yourself about why you haven't started yet. The truth? Most people don't fail because they aim too high and miss. They fail because they aim too low and hit. They settle. They soften. They seek comfort dressed as success. But not you. Not anymore. If you've heard this far, if this is stirring something in your bones, it's because there's a version of you screaming to be seen. One that's sick of watching life pass like scenes on a train, while your soul sits idle in the station. You're not meant to spectate. You're meant to build. But nothing gets built until you stop making excuses. Excuses are elegant lies, wrapped in soft language. I'm too tired. It's not the right time. I just need more clarity. No. What you need is a decision. The bridge between where you are and where you want to be is built with brutal clarity. Clarity about what you want, clarity about what it costs, and clarity about what you're no longer willing to tolerate. Tolerate average, and that's what you'll get. Tolerate chaos, and you'll keep drowning in it. Tolerate delay, and you'll die with your dreams still inside you. Ownership means you stop hoping and start building. It means you stop outsourcing your happiness to people who don't know your soul. It means you stop praying for motivation and start acting like discipline is your religion. You want better? Be better. No one owes you transformation, but you owe it to yourself to stop playing small in a life that demands your greatness. There are no shortcuts, no secrets, no one weird tricks. There is only work. And not just hard work, honest work. Work that forces you to confront your flaws. Work that makes you sweat, shake, and want to quit, but do it anyway. Work that no one applauds, but everyone feels when you walk into a room. Because ownership isn't just about action, it's about identity. You don't just do the habits of a successful person. You become someone who doesn't recognize anything less. Ownership is when you raise your standards so high, the old you suffocates in their presence. It's when you say, this is who I am now, and anything less dishonors the vision I've been gifted. You were given a life, one life, not to squander, not to survive, but to shape. So shape it, mold it, burn down everything that isn't aligned and rebuild from the bones up. You are not broken. You are becoming. And becoming requires letting go of the illusion that someone else holds the keys. You hold them. You always have. Now, unlock the cage and rise. Rise without apology. Rise without permission. Rise without the weight of who you used to be. Because ownership is not a one-time act. It is a daily declaration. And today, you declare, no more excuses. This is my life, and I'm taking it back. There is a quiet kind of power that rises in a person when they stop waiting to be chosen, when they stop asking for approval, when they stop shrinking to fit into spaces they were never meant to survive in, much less thrive in. That power, that still thunderous force, it begins the moment you say, enough. Enough waiting. Enough wishing. Enough being a victim of my schedule, my habits, my fears. Enough letting the day own me instead of me owning the day. Because the world will try to mold you, bend you, sell you 1,000 paths that promise ease but steal your essence. But the one who takes ownership, that person cannot be moved. Ownership is not sexy. It's not glamorous. It's not the stuff of highlight reels and filters. Ownership is brutal. It's raw. It looks like saying, I'm the reason I'm here, and I'm the reason I'll get out. It sounds like, no more blaming my parents, no more blaming my job, no more blaming the economy, my boss, my city, my past. It's staring into the mirror and realizing the enemy and the answer have the same face. That's not weakness. That's the beginning of strength. You want to change your life? Here's how. Change what you tolerate. Change what you expect. Change what you demand from yourself when no one's watching. Most people don't lack goals. They lack standards. They say they want success, but they're unwilling to stop negotiating with their limitations. They say they want wealth, but they won't master their mornings. They say they want health, but they won't give up convenience. They say they want love, but they won't love themselves enough to set boundaries. Do not say you want something if you're not willing to become the version of yourself who can handle it. You don't get the outcome by wanting it, you get it by matching it. Ownership is when you take full responsibility, not just for the results, but for becoming the kind of person who can sustain them. Because what you don't change, you choose. And every time you choose comfort over commitment, every time you choose blame over breakthrough, you reinforce the cage. You build bars around your future and call them reasons. But reasons don't set you free. Results do. And results are earned with consistency, with conviction, with ruthless self-respect. Let me ask you this. What would your life look like if you stopped tolerating the bare minimum from yourself? If you stopped giving yourself a pass every time it got hard? If you stopped showing up 70% and expecting a 100% life? What would happen if you actually held yourself to the fire? Not with shame, but with reverence, with the deep, burning belief that you were made for more, that the life you crave isn't a fantasy, it's a reflection of your potential knocking at the door. But here's the catch. That door is locked from the inside. No one else can open it for you. Ownership means grabbing the key. Ownership means becoming the version of yourself who earns it. The disciplined one, the clear one, the hungry one, the one who chooses growth over ego, the one who's willing to look foolish to become wise, the one who's not afraid to start over as long as they never stop. This is the war inside, between the you that settles and the you that soars, between the one who rationalizes and the one who rises. And the only way the higher version wins is if you stop making room for the lesser one. No more backup plans. No more halfway in. No more language that softens your standards. If you say you want it, then act like it. Because life doesn't give you what you hope for. It gives you what you prove you can handle. So build the rituals. Build the frame. Build the storm-proof soul that doesn't beg for better circumstances. It becomes the better circumstance. And when the winds come, they will, you won't crumble. You won't fold. You'll rise taller because you didn't build a life on chance. You built it on choice. You took ownership. And that is unshakable. And now we go beyond decisions, beyond declarations, into the sacred realm of execution. Because ownership without execution is just another empty promise. It's not what you plan that defines you. It's what you prove. You don't get credit for good intentions. You get results from relentless implementation, from showing up when it's hard, from grinding when it's boring, from building when no one else believes. Most people stop when it's difficult. The ones who rise, they start there because they know discomfort is not a sign to stop. It's a sign you're finally doing something worth becoming. You want to own your life? Own your patterns. Watch your mornings. They tell the truth about your priorities. Watch your conversations. They reveal what you tolerate. Watch your inner dialogue. It exposes the limits you've made law. Every single pattern either builds your power or breaks it. And the boldest thing you can do is interrupt the pattern right now before it hardens into personality. Because the longer you wait to change, the deeper the rut becomes. But here's the gift. Your brain is not stone. It's clay. Mold it, train it, shock it with new standards. You are not stuck. You are just rehearsing a role you've outgrown. Ownership means burning the script. It means writing a new identity one action at a time. And this is where most people fail. They try to think their way into a new life. But thought without action is just noise. You have to move. Ownership lives in motion. In the gym when you don't feel like going. In the cold shower when your mind begs for comfort. In the silence when you sit down to create instead of scroll. In the budget when you choose long-term wealth over instant dopamine. In the refusal to let your emotions negotiate your mission. That's where power is forged. In moments that look small to others but echo like thunder across the timeline of your life. Because discipline doesn't scream, it whispers. It's the quiet, daily yes to the person you're becoming, even when the world doesn't applaud. And here's a secret. The more you keep promises to yourself, the louder your confidence becomes. Confidence isn't gifted. It's compounded. Every day you do the hard thing, you collect interest on your self-respect. You start walking different, thinking different, breathing different. Because you're no longer living at the mercy of moods. You are led by mission. This is when ownership transforms into power. When your habits align with your highest vision, when your calendar reflects your calling, not your chaos. When your presence shifts rooms, Not because you try to impress, but because you've done the inner work no one sees. And let's be clear, the work never ends. There is no finish line for ownership. There is only the next level, the next challenge, the next layer of self you must confront, dismantle, and rebuild. You don't arrive, you evolve. You're not chasing perfection, you're chasing alignment. And alignment comes when your decisions match your destiny, not your doubts. But to live there, you must give up the luxury of blaming anything outside of you. No more outsourcing your power to luck. No more waiting on motivation to strike. No more hoping someone else sees your worth before you act like it's real. You go first. You lead the charge. You become the proof. Let others catch up. Because ownership is lonely until it becomes legendary. In the beginning, they won't understand you. They'll mock the routines, question the silence, resist the boundaries. Let them, because later they'll ask you how you did it, and you'll tell them the truth. I stopped lying to myself. I stopped making excuses. I started building no matter how I felt. I stopped waiting, and I decided. That's all it takes. One decision, followed by 1,000 consistent actions. That's how legacies are built. That's how lives are changed. That's how you rise. Not once, but every single day. Because ownership isn't a moment, it's a movement. And now, it's yours to lead. This is the season of reckoning. No more soft landings. No more gentle awakenings. This is the moment you stop dipping your toe in destiny and dive headfirst into who you were meant to be. And it's going to cost you. Yes, it will cost you. It will cost you your excuses. It will cost you your comfort zone. It will cost you the version of yourself addicted to distractions and delayed dreams. But what you gain your power. And that trade is always worth it. You see, people think ownership is about control, but it's not. It's about clarity. Clarity that says, if I don't like where I am, I can change it. If I don't like who I am, I can evolve. If I don't like what I'm getting, I can raise my standard and never again settle for less. This is the moment you step into full alignment. Not the alignment that looks good on a vision board, but the kind that's felt in your bones when you walk through the world with posture, presence, and purpose. The kind of alignment that makes you unshakable. Because the truth is, most people don't need more time. They need more urgency. They don't need more chances. They need more decisions. You don't need more potential. You need more permission. But not from the world, from yourself. Give yourself permission to go all in, to burn the script of mediocrity, to destroy the belief that playing small is humble, to silence the voice that says, not yet, not you, not now. You have played in the shadows long enough. It's time to turn the light on. It's time to break the contract you made with fear. You see, ownership is not just about what you do, it's about what you no longer accept. You no longer accept half-hearted effort, half-built dreams, half-lived lives. You no longer lower your standards to fit someone else's laziness. You no longer pause your purpose to explain yourself to people who will never understand it. You no longer betray your future just to feel safe in your past. This is your line in the sand. This is where the old you dies and the real you rises. And it won't happen with a single choice. It will happen in the consistency of those choices. Every time you say no to distraction, every time you choose presence over passivity, every time you act like the person you want to be, not just the one you've always been. That's how identity shifts, not in theory, but in practice. Your new life begins the moment you decide to stop waiting for it. There is no special day, no perfect signal, no magic email or cosmic tap on the shoulder. There's only this moment, this breath, this decision. So let it be loud. Let it shake something in you. Let it rattle the part of you that's been asleep behind routines, behind regret, behind the rusted bars of your comfort. And rise. Not slowly, not cautiously, but like you remember who you are. Because that's what ownership gives you, remembrance. It reminds you that you are not broken, not behind, not lost. You are becoming, and becoming is messy. Becoming is painful, but becoming is worth it because what's on the other side is not just success, not just progress, but sovereignty. A life that is truly yours, a mission that fuels you, a legacy that echoes. And you become the kind of person who no longer needs to say, one day, because you are already doing it. You are already becoming. You are already owning your story, your strength, your soul. This is your turning point, not a wish, not a hope, a declaration. Ownership full, radical, relentless ownership begins now. And once it begins, it never ends. 2, feed the fire, not the fear. There is a fire inside you. It has no name, no shape, no form. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It waits. It's the part of you that knew before the world told you to doubt, before the voices of limitation crept in and started whispering their hymns of hesitation, before society started rewarding safety over significance, convenience over conviction. That fire, it was there the moment you dared to want something more. The moment you first looked in the mirror and thought, I was meant for more than this routine, more than this silence, more than just getting by. But you forgot. Because the world is very good at making people forget. You were taught to feed your fear instead. They handed you a map pre-drawn, pre-approved, and said, here, this is the life. Color inside these lines. Play by these rules. And maybe you'll make it. But you didn't come here to survive. You came here to burn, to set your path on fire with purpose, to ignite potential so bright it blinds your past. But fear is patient. It doesn't need to defeat you all at once. It just needs to make you doubt in small doses. One hesitation, one delayed dream, one ignored instinct. And before you know it, the fire dims. And you start building a life that looks like everyone else is safe, quiet, convenient, and slowly dying. Let me tell you something nobody else will. Fear only has the power you lend it. And every moment you hesitate, you feed it. Every moment you listen to that voice that says, wait, play small, blend in, you're tossing logs on its fire. But there's another way. You can feed the fire instead. And feeding the fire means choosing discomfort over denial, truth over tradition, vision over validation. It means staring into the mirror and saying, I am not a product of my past. I am a force being forged in it. You don't need to be fearless to act. You need to be faithful to that fire inside you. Because here's the truth. The ones who win, the ones who break free, the ones who rise, they didn't wait for the fear to go away. They just stopped feeding it. They chose to build. You see, belief is not a feeling. It's a discipline. It's the daily decision to bet on yourself, even when the odds don't. Belief doesn't start loud. It starts in whispers, the quiet kind of courage that says, get up again. The silent vow that says, I don't care how long it takes, I will not die like this. Because when you feed the fire of belief, something wild happens. You start moving differently. You stop asking for permission to become. You stop checking if you're ready. Let me be clear. Readiness is a lie. You're not supposed to feel ready. You're supposed to decide you're done waiting. People ask, how do I become confident? How do I believe in myself? Here's how. You do the thing while you're still shaking. You show up when it's easier to shut down. You write the page when your mind says nobody will care. You make the call when your heart says you're not good enough. That's belief. That's the fire, not the feeling, the furnace that keeps going. And every time you choose belief over fear, the fire gets stronger. It becomes louder than your doubt, brighter than your shadows, stronger than your story. But belief without clarity is just noise. So let's talk about clarity. Clarity is not about having all the answers. It's about asking better questions. What do I really want? Who am I becoming? What am I no longer available for? Most people don't get what they want because they never define it. They're vague, blurry, reactionary. They don't live, they respond. They drift through jobs, relationships, routines, hoping life will hand them meaning like a lottery ticket. But clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from declaring. Declare your direction. Even if the road isn't clear, light the torch anyway. Clarity isn't about having guarantees. It's about having the guts to say, this is who I am. This is where I'm going. And nothing behind me is worth returning to. And when you have clarity, discipline becomes purpose-driven. It's not about forcing yourself. It's about focusing yourself. Discipline is the language of fire. You want to know what separates the exceptional from the average? It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's consistency. It's the boring, relentless, invisible work that nobody sees but everybody feels later. It's choosing the hard conversation over the silent resentment. Choosing the workout over the excuse. Choosing one more rep, one more call, one more try when no one's watching. Because the fire grows in the dark. Discipline is the decision to not negotiate with your lesser self. To not make excuses just because your emotions are loud. To live by commitment, not convenience. That's how you feed the fire. That's how you silence the fear. You don't have to win every day, but you must refuse to surrender the day. And that comes down to one thing: vision. A life without vision is a life on repeat. If you don't design your future, you'll default to your past. So close your eyes and ask yourself, what would my life look like if I stopped playing defense? If I stopped reacting and started architecting? Build it in your mind first. Build it so vividly that your current life starts to feel like a betrayal. See the version of you who doesn't apologize for taking up space. See the business, the health, the love, the peace, and not as fantasies, but as inevitabilities waiting for you to become the person who claims them. Vision isn't daydreaming. Vision is the blueprint that the fire builds upon. But a vision without action is just a fantasy. So act. Don't wait until you're inspired. That's feeding fear. Act to create inspiration. That's feeding fire. The moment you move, even in confusion, even in chaos, clarity rushes in. The path reveals itself through movement, not meditation. Action is your loudest vote for the life you want. So don't just plan. Don't just think. Don't just dream. Build. And while you're building, don't forget gratitude. Gratitude is not passive. It's not about saying thank you for the crumbs. It's about declaring, I see the fire. I see the work. I see how far I've come, even if no one else does. Gratitude is fuel. It's the defiance of the victim mindset. It says, I am not broken. I am becoming. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your next choice begins. And every time you choose to see your life as your responsibility, not your punishment, the fire grows. So choose growth, choose healing, choose forward, choose now. Because your fear will never run out of reasons, but your fire will never run out of power if you keep feeding it. The world will try to convince you that fear is wisdom, that hesitation is maturity, that restraint is virtue. But that's not wisdom, that's domestication. That's what happens when people stop living and start managing their dreams, managing their emotions, managing their truth until it's small enough to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. You weren't born to be managed. You were born to rise. Let me say this again. You were born to rise. There is a part of you that is still untouched by failure, still unstained by rejection, still untouched by the weight of the world's opinions. That part is fire. And it doesn't need fixing. It needs fuel. It needs you to stop arguing for your limitations. Stop justifying your procrastination. Stop convincing yourself that maybe someday life will finally give you permission to go all in. No, life won't give you permission. You take it. You look at the fear and say, I see you. I feel you, but you don't own me anymore. Fear is loud, but it's lazy. It replays the same arguments, the same what ifs, the same ghost stories dressed in logic. But the fire, it doesn't argue. It builds. It turns every doubt into fuel, every setback into raw material, every insult into architecture. People will say, "You've changed." Let them. They're not supposed to recognize you when you start feeding your fire. You weren't put on this earth to be understood. You were put here to understand yourself and live accordingly. You want to break through? Then stop needing to be liked more than you need to be free. People-pleasing is fear wearing a smile. It's the fear of rejection disguised as kindness. And it's the fastest way to betray your own fire. Because you can't be fully lit and fully liked at the same time. When you feed the fire, you become a mirror. And mirrors make people uncomfortable, especially those who have spent years avoiding their own reflection. Don't shrink so they can stay small. Don't dim so they feel less insecure. Don't pause your progress so their comfort can remain unchallenged. There is nothing noble about staying in places that no longer honor your becoming. That's not loyalty. That's fear. And every time you silence your truth to protect someone else's illusion, the fire suffers. But every time you speak, not to argue, not to defend, but to declare, the fire rises. And when it rises, it starts to cleanse. You begin to burn away the lies you told yourself to survive, the false identities you wore to be accepted, the masks, the roles, the fake smiles, the empty conversations. You start telling the truth, even when your voice shakes, even when it costs you comfort, even when it leaves you alone. Because fire doesn't need a crowd. It needs oxygen space, honesty, integrity. Feed it that, and it will show you who you've been all along. Let's talk about resilience. Because the fire is not just for growth, it's for the storms. People think strength means never falling, never doubting, never breaking. Wrong. Strength is the ability to come back, to rebuild from ashes, to look at the wreckage and say, "Good, now I can start fresh." That's what resilience is. It's not pretty, it's not poetic, it's often brutal, messy, raw, but it's real. Resilience is the ability to feel the weight and keep walking, to carry your grief, your fear, your regret, and still show up with purpose. The fire is your forge, and life will test you. You will lose people. You will lose things you thought you couldn't live without. You will fail. You will cry. You will want to quit. And in those moments, those quiet, hollow moments when no one is watching, you will be tempted to feed the fear again. Don't. Don't give the fear your pain. Don't let it turn your heartbreak into self-hate. Don't let it weaponize your past. Instead, throw it into the fire. Let it burn. Let it burn so the phoenix in you can rise. Because every time you get back up, you're teaching your soul something sacred. I am not here to be spared. I am here to be sculpted. Adaptability is another way the fire feeds itself. You want to thrive? Learn to bend without breaking, to shift without losing your center. Adaptability doesn't mean changing who you are. It means protecting who you are by evolving your approach. It's knowing when to pivot, when to persevere, and when to walk away entirely not from fear, but from wisdom. The world changes fast. Technology changes. Markets change. People change. The question isn't, can I keep up? The question is, can I keep becoming? The fire never stops becoming. It doesn't cling to form. It dances. It flows. It becomes what it must to keep burning. So must you. Let go of your attachment to how you thought it was supposed to go. Stop mourning the plan. Start trusting the becoming. Because it's in the breakdowns that breakthroughs are born. It's in the detours where destiny waits. It's in the chaos that the fire finds its form. Feed it with flexibility, with the courage to say, this is not what I expected, but it's exactly what I need to grow. That's how you lead yourself. And that's what most people miss, self-leadership. You don't need more motivation. You need mastery. The fire inside you is wild. But mastery is how you direct it. Mastery over your mind. Mastery over your words. Mastery over your focus. Because you can't conquer the world if you can't command your own thoughts. Most people don't fail because of lack of talent. They fail because of mental clutter. Too many open tabs in the mind. Too many opinions, too many unresolved emotions. Too much noise. You want clarity? Silence the distractions. You want impact? Discipline your attention. You want transformation? Build systems, not wishes. The fire needs a structure to thrive. You must design your days like they matter because they do. Wake up with purpose. Move with intention. Build rituals, not reactions. Create a standard that the world must rise to if it wants to be part of your life. Don't just drift. Direct. And if you lose control for a day, fine. Just don't stay lost. Come back. Always come back. That's mastery, not perfection, but the return to alignment. Feed the fire. Come back. Feed it again. Come back stronger. Because the more you feed it, the more it feeds you. And here's the most powerful truth of all. The fire inside you does not judge your past. It doesn't care how many times you failed. It doesn't care what you should have done. It doesn't care how long you stayed small, how long you played afraid, how long you silenced your voice to fit in with people who were never meant to understand you. It only asks one thing. Will you burn now? Not yesterday. Not someday. Now. Because now is the only place the fire lives. Not in your regrets, not in your fantasies, not in your plans, but in your decisions right here, right now. You want to change your life? You don't need 10 more years. You need 10 seconds of truth. 10 seconds to stand up and say, enough. Enough hiding. Enough shrinking. Enough explaining your fire to people who are addicted to their fear. Enough lying to yourself about what you're capable of. You don't need more time. You need more truth. Because your next level doesn't require a new version of the world. It requires a new version of you. A version who leads with conviction, who walks with certainty, who no longer asks, what will they think? But instead declares, what do I think? What do I know? What do I choose? That's what the fire wants, your choice. Because every single day you are choosing to feed the fire or the fear, choosing to stay loyal to your dreams or your doubts, choosing to live fully or exist quietly. And if you don't choose consciously, your fear will choose for you. It will choose the job you hate, the relationship that drains you, the habits that numb you, the identity that plays small. But when you choose with fire, you don't just live, you ignite. You inspire. You move. You burn through the noise and give people permission to do the same. Because your fire is not just for you. It's for everyone you will lead, love, lift, and liberate just by living out loud. And let's be honest, fear is never going away. It's not a one-time battle. It's a daily duel. But here's the good news. You get stronger. Every time you show up anyway, you build muscle. Every time you move forward, despite the voice that says, you can't, you train your mind to trust your soul. Fear is the alarm. Fire is the response. And the fire doesn't wait for silence to act. It speaks in the middle of the noise. This isn't about becoming fearless. It's about becoming unshakable. It's about being so rooted in your truth, so obsessed with your growth, so dialed into your purpose that fear becomes background static, always there, but never in control. And the only way to reach that state is by doing it afraid, by walking forward when your legs are shaking, by building the dream when the critics are screaming, by believing anyway. And one day you'll look around at the life you built, the habits, the boundaries, the joy, the freedom, and realize this wasn't luck. This was fire-fed discipline. This was you refusing to surrender. And you must protect it, this fire. You must guard your inputs. What you consume becomes what you create. What you hear becomes what you repeat. What you tolerate becomes what you live. So be ruthless with your environment. Audit the voices you allow. Remove the noise that feeds fear, the drama, the distraction, the dysfunction. Curate a life that feeds growth. Books that stretch your mind. conversations that stir your spirit, environments that challenge your comfort, people who reflect your becoming, not your past. This isn't selfish, it's strategic. Because if you want to build an extraordinary life, you cannot afford ordinary influences. You need fire starters, people who light up when you dream bigger, people who don't flinch when you raise your standards, people who remind you of your power, not your past. And if you don't have them, yet become one. Become the fire that others feel. Walk so boldly in your truth that you light torches in everyone you meet. That's how we shift the world. Not with permission, but with presence. And never forget this. There will come a moment when no one claps for you. No one validates your progress. No one sees the work behind the scenes. That's the moment most people quit. Because they were chasing applause, not alignment. But not you. You're not here for approval. You're here for ascension. You're not here to be seen. You're here to see yourself clearly. To look in the mirror and say, this is who I am. This is what I'm building. And this is where I'm going, no matter how long it takes. That's real power. Not volume, not bravado, but quiet, relentless, unshakable power. And that power doesn't show up all at once. It grows. It compounds. It deepens every time you keep your promise to yourself. Every time you say, I'll do it, and you actually do. That's what feeds the fire more than anything else. Self-trust. Because when you trust yourself, fear can scream all it wants, but it won't matter. You'll already be moving. You'll already be building. You'll already be becoming. And that's the goal. Not perfection, not applause, but progress born in fire, raised in truth, carried forward by a will that refuses to die. So let the world call you intense. Let them say you've changed. Let them gossip, criticize, doubt, mock. They're watching from the stands. You're walking through the fire. And one day they'll ask how you did it, how you rose, how you kept going, how you built something so rare, so powerful, so undeniable, while they stayed silent, comfortable, safe. And you'll look them in the eye with no anger, no ego, and simply say, I fed the fire. I stopped feeding the fear. And now we arrive at the edge of everything. The moment where the old version of you dies, not in violence, not in shame, but in surrender. The version of you that waited dies here. The one that feared rejection, feared failure, feared being too much, burns here. The one that played small to be accepted is done. You are not here to rehearse your power. You are here to release it. You were never meant to tiptoe toward greatness. You were meant to leap not because the path is clear, but because your soul is ready. And you know it is. Because something inside you is stirring now. Something ancient. Something raw. Something real. The fire. The same fire that built empires, wrote revolutions, carved mountains, conquered oceans. The same fire that burned in every soul who ever said, enough, I was made for more. It lives in you. But here's the catch. It will not wait forever. You must claim it. You must choose it again and again, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's lonely, even when it costs you everything safe and familiar. That's the price of transformation. Safety must die for significance to live. Comfort must be buried for conviction to rise. And if you're still asking, is it worth it? Then you haven't seen who you're becoming yet. Because when you finally taste freedom, real, soul-level freedom, you'll never settle for anything less again. You'll stop negotiating with your old self. You'll stop watering down your truth just to keep peace with people who are terrified of their own potential. You'll stop trying to be understood by those who were never meant to walk with you beyond this chapter. This is your threshold, not a decision, a declaration. The day you stop explaining, the day you stop apologizing, the day you stop hiding your hunger, and you say out loud, let them misunderstand me, let them label me, let them leave. I will still burn, and you will. You'll burn through the excuses, through the noise, through the limits, through the need to be liked, to be perfect, to be approved. And on the other side of that burn, you'll find something no one can take from you. You're becoming, not a title, not a result, not a possession, but a state of existence that no loss, no failure, no opinion can steal. Because once you feed the fire long enough, you become the fire. You become the presence that silences doubt. You become the energy that awakens courage in others. You become the storm that no longer needs thunder, just truth. And you'll move through the world differently. Not chasing, creating. Not proving, embodying. Not waiting, leading. You'll look back at the version of you who once begged for validation and whisper, "Thank you for surviving, but I've got it from here." And forward you will walk with war in your eyes and peace in your chest. You'll no longer fear losing people who can't hold your fire. You'll bless them and keep building. You'll no longer beg to be seen. You'll see yourself, and that will be enough. You'll no longer ask, "Who am I to want this much?" You'll say, "Who was I to settle for so little?" This is who you are, not who you hope to be, not who you were told to be, not who the world needs you to be to feel safe. This is who you've always been underneath the fear, a flame with a voice. And now you speak. Now you rise. Now you build the life that fear said you couldn't. Not by force, but by fire. Not for them, for you. Because you're done dimming. You're done asking. You're done waiting. And from this moment on, you feed only the fire. Not the fear. Never again the fear, only the fire. Always the fire. Now go and make them feel the heat of a life fully claimed. 3, craft a vision that terrifies and excites you. You are not here to play small. You are not here to tiptoe through life, fitting neatly into boxes someone else built. You are not here to numb your hunger with distractions, to silence your potential with comfort, or to spend your days decorating a life you secretly want to escape. You are here to build something so real, so raw, so true, that it electrifies you every time you speak it aloud. You are here to craft a vision so massive it terrifies you, and so alive it won't let you sleep. Because if your vision doesn't scare you, it's not worthy of you. If your dreams don't make your heart race with both fear and fire, then they are too small for the power you hold. And that's the problem. Most people shrink their vision to match their current courage. They edit their dreams to avoid discomfort. They ask for permission before claiming their possibility. But here's the truth. You will never build an extraordinary life by avoiding fear. You build it by walking through fear, by expanding into it again and again. The fear is not the enemy, it's the signal. It's the alarm clock telling you that the edge of your comfort zone is right here, right now. You don't get to wait until you're confident. You don't get to wait until you feel ready. You create confidence by showing up. You create readiness by building momentum. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards proof. And proof comes from movement. So craft that vision, not a safe one, not a realistic one, a vision so big it demands a new version of you. A vision that humbles you, that haunts you, that makes you sit in silence some nights and whisper, "Can I really become the kind of person who can hold all of this?" Yes. Yes, you can. But first, you must decide. Mindset is the gatekeeper of vision. Before you build the empire, you must build the mind that can house it. The strongest prison is not made of steel, it's made of thoughts. And the sad truth? Most people are walking free in the world, but are trapped behind the invisible bars of their own limiting beliefs. They don't need chains. Their doubts are enough. Who am I to dream that big? What if I fail? What will they think? Let me tell you what they never told you in school. Your mind will either be your master or your servant. There is no neutral. The quality of your thoughts becomes the quality of your life. Period. You can't build a mansion with the blueprint of a shack. And you can't build a bold life with a fearful mind. So train your thoughts. Feed them deliberately. Starve the ones that sabotage. Challenge every belief that starts with I can't, I'm not ready, or it's too late. Ask yourself, who gave me this belief? Who benefits from me staying small? You'll realize quickly, it's never been you. You were not born with fear of success. That was taught. You were not born with scarcity. That was modeled. You were not born unworthy. That was inherited, handed down like a broken heirloom. But you get to break the cycle. You get to rewire the story. You get to replace the lies with laws of personal power. And here is one. You become what you repeat. So repeat this. My vision is bigger than my fear. My future is louder than my past. My voice is stronger than their opinions. Say it again and again until your cells believe it, until your actions reflect it, until the world adapts to it. And now comes belief. Not the kind you post online, the kind that hurts to hold, the kind you build quietly, one step, one rep, one promise at a time. Belief isn't a mood. It's not a vibe. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows through resistance. Every time you keep going when quitting looks easier, your belief grows. Every time you stay on the path when everyone else is bailing, your belief sharpens. Every time you show up, despite fear, despite fatigue, despite being misunderstood, your belief cements. It's not about waiting for the world to believe in you. That's backward. That's poverty thinking. You lead with belief and the world follows with evidence. Most people reverse it. They say, when I have the results, then I'll believe. But champions say, when I believe, I will create the results. Your belief is your invitation to the future. Without it, no door opens. With it, every door eventually cracks. And here's the kicker. You don't need to believe in the whole journey. You just need to believe in the next bold step. Take it, then the next one. That's how giants are built on, courageous inch at a time. Clarity is your next step. Because belief without direction is like fire without wood. It burns bright, but dies fast. You must define your vision, not in vague terms, not in cute Pinterest quotes, in detail. What does your dream day look like? What do you wake up excited to do? What does your energy feel like in that life? What do you no longer tolerate? Clarity isn't about knowing the how. It's about committing to the what and why. Don't worry about how you'll get there. That part is fluid. But get specific about where there even is. Because the universe doesn't respond to confusion, it responds to conviction. Most people drift. They don't design. They react. They don't architect. And then they wonder why life feels meaningless, like they're on someone else's path. Here's the harsh truth. If you don't write the script, someone else will hand you one. So write it. Build it. Craft your vision with such intensity that the world has no choice but to shift around it. Because vision is power. It is magnetic. It pulls people, resources, opportunities toward you. But only when you're clear. Only when you say, this is what I'm building. This is who I'm becoming. This is what I will no longer settle for. And mean it. Say it so loud the fear begins to tremble. Say it so clearly the old version of you starts to grieve. Say it so confidently the next version of you starts packing her bags ready to arrive. Now that you've claimed the vision, you must own the cost. Every dream you chase comes with a toll. Every life of greatness comes with a tax the average are unwilling to pay. You don't get a bold life at clearance prices. You want the freedom, the wealth, the purpose, the fire? Then you must embrace the sacrifice. You must become disciplined, not just when it's easy, not just when you're in the mood, but especially when it's inconvenient, when it hurts, when no one claps, when no one sees. Discipline is doing it anyway. Discipline is your respect for the vision you've crafted. It's not punishment, it's devotion. When you become disciplined, you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop asking your feelings for permission. You don't ask your doubt, are we ready? You tell your doubt, we're moving. Because every undisciplined moment is a betrayal of your future self. You can't expect to live like a lion if you train like a kitten. You want to be rare? You want to be remembered? Then act like it. Think like it. Build like it. Wake up when it's dark. Work when it's uncomfortable. Practice when others are scrolling. Study when others are partying. Speak the truth when others stay silent. That's how legends are made. And no, it won't always be balanced. It won't always feel good. But vision is not about balance, it's about alignment. When you are aligned with your purpose, you don't need hype. You need habits. You need routines so sacred they become non-negotiable. You don't try to be great. You become great through repetition, through resilience, through ritual. Because 1 hour of undistracted discipline beats a month of wishful thinking. And one decision can shift your entire destiny. So decide. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Now. Action is the voice of your vision. You can meditate. You can journal. You can visualize. But until you move, you're still pretending. Action is how the dream materializes. Not thoughts, not prayers, not vision boards. Execution. You act, you fail, you adjust, you repeat. That's the rhythm. That's the recipe. People will spend years preparing, studying, planning because it feels productive. But it's safe. It's sterile. It's fear in disguise. At some point, you must leave the whiteboard and walk into the arena. Action is how you speak to life. Action is how you build belief. Action is how you turn someday into this day. Even the smallest step matters. A single, honest conversation. A new boundary. A broken habit. A brave decision. It's all movement. And movement changes momentum. If you feel stuck, it's not because you're broken. It's because you've paused too long. So start again. The fire isn't dead, it's waiting for oxygen. Breathe it, move, risk, leap, even if it's messy, even if it's slow.